Hola amigos, this is level 12 and today we are going to be discussing the Hetalia characters that have grown on me. Now these are characters that either I have disliked or just didn't really care for. This is a rather short list, so don't expect like a top 10 really long list or a very a really big list, because usually I try not to hate characters in anime, but these four that I have here are characters that I will admit I didn't like them at all. Also forgive me if I sniffle or my voice sounds a little weird. I woke up this morning and I had a stuffy nose. I'm not feeling sick, but I might be sick. But anyway, let's just get on with the list. So, Estonia. So as you all know, or hopefully know, I kind of love the Baltics. They're my three favorite characters, but when I was first introduced to Estonia, and he's still my least favorite Baltic even though he's one of my little Baltic babies, I didn't really like him. He was so bland and boring, and Hema made him like Hema because Estonia was like a favorite character of his, and it kind of just first of all, I don't like the Neos, and I will never like the Neos because I don't like gender bending of characters. But out of all the Hetalia characters, Estonia was the one who met the Neos in, crap, and I even saw that comic in a bookstore, but I didn't buy it because I didn't want it. But anyways, he met the Neos in one of the mangas, and I was just like, really? He meets them? But I kind of, I rewatched a few of my favorite episodes in some of the shorter seasons, and he was in some of those episodes, and I just kind of got used to him. Like, yeah, Estonia, the Baltics probably need someone like Estonia, who's kind of calm and plain and really smart, so Russia doesn't kill them all. Because Latvia's really loud and doesn't know when to keep his mouth shut, and Lithuania is basically a pushover. Estonia is kind of the middle of that road. Next is Romano. Now, characters like Romano, the Tsunderes, I really don't like, because just how they go about trying to get their relationship is very weird and counterproductive to me. And I don't like the Tsundere aspect where they're all angry and haughty and mighty, and it's just in any type of character that annoys the crap out of me. However, I started liking him more as I saw how he just kind of wanted someone to notice him, because he was kicked out of Austria's house and given to Spain, and we can see all through Hetalia how Spain is like, oh, I bet Italy's so much better, or at least the southern part of Italy, and I think Romano gets a little jealous that he's just hiding, even though he is the older brother, he's just hiding in his little brother's shadow. And I know what it's like to hide in a sibling shadow now. I'm the younger in my family, but I know how hard it can be to try and rise above it. And Romano, since he is the older, he shouldn't have to do this. And I feel really bad for his character that he's just sitting in his younger brother's shadow. And also, deep down, he is a coward like Italy, even though he doesn't really show it. Well, I mean, he shows it, but, you know, life happens. Anyway, next is Belarus. Belarus, I did not like her character for another anime trope, which is the yandere trope, much like the tsundere trope with Romano. I didn't like that most of her character was based around getting Russia and wanting to be with Russia. However, in the comics and manga, and it doesn't show this as much in the anime, she goes through very great and very weird lengths to try to get to Russia. Like, she goes on a date with Lithuania just to get information about Russia, which is very kind of smart, actually. And also, she's in the anime, I don't think they really show how much about Belarus is not about Russia, but after seeing some screenshots of the comics and stuff, that she also just has a really big hatred for a bunch of nations. And I kind of understand her want to be with Russia, because Belarus, I mean, I feel like the Russia, Ukraine, and Belarus were really close family, but as they grew up, they grew apart, and that just kind of scares Belarus a little bit, and the easiest way she knows how to stay with her family is to marry Russia. But she goes about it in a very psychotic way, which pushes Russia away and in turn only fuels that inner anger. Also, she's a really pretty character. That's also another reason why she's grown on me. And then finally, we have this character that I put on my top 10 loathsome anime characters. I cannot believe that he has become also one of my most favorite Hetalia characters, which is Prussia. Now, as you will note, his background kind of gets lighter in the middle versus what I did for the other characters. I typed in that because I read somewhere that Prussia's suit was Prussian blue, even though it's purple. Maybe it's Prussian purple and I just read it wrong. But I knew Prussian blue was a very pretty color. I couldn't remember exactly what it was, so I'm like, okay, I'll make his background Prussian blue because he's Prussia. I type into Google, what's the code for that color? And it's like this really weird, deep bluish, it's like a really weird, deep teal color. And I was like, that doesn't look like Prussia. So I'm like, okay, I'll find the picture first because I was thinking about doing just a straight black. But then I'm like, no, Prussia needs to be a special snowflake. So the reason I hated Prussia is because it's kind of the same reason I don't like Czechia a lot, is because he's such a showy, upfront character. He's so like in your face and loud and annoying, and he's always like, I'm awesome, I'm the best, and he edits his journal to make him seem way more cooler. And I hated that at first. I hated his character. But the more, because I've used him a lot, so I've had to do a lot of research on him. But the more stuff I researched on him, and the more like that I found out about him, I was like, huh, yeah, Prussia's kind of cool. He's a very complex character. He's one of the oldest nations that are still alive, along with China and Turkey and Greece and Egypt to an extent. But anyways, he's been in several different reincarnations. He was a Teutonic Knight, he was Prussia, he was East Germany. Technically, he's still East Germany, but, you know, schematics. And I'm just like, this dude has had to live through a lot. So he kind of gets a pass on being a jerk sometimes. And there's a great essay called Mr. Lytle, an essay, which is also about a really old dude who had to live through a bunch, who's a little off his rocker, which I will say Prussia's a little off his rocker, but I've come to learn and accept Prussia for who he is and kind of actually start to like him because he's so interesting, and he has the type of personality I wish I had, but in a more polite southerner way, if that makes sense. Anyways, that's all for this video. I miss having afterthoughts about my videos, but those will come later. Like and subscribe for more anime and otaku related content. Ciao, chicos!